Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I was listening to segment just now. Brian Windhorst was referring um, to Kyrie Irving in a segment. They were talking about the Brooklyn Nets and just what they need to do to go forward. I don't think the news that Steve Nash and Ime Udoka were going to be exchanged in the situation, which is now being um, reported at this point. But during this segment, I don't think that had been the case yet. And he was really critical of Kyrie Irving and saying that the Nets had not punished Kyrie Irving for anything that he had done. And, he just had a certain tone about him that was very catty. And I know the media, when I say the media, there may be a few people in the media who may have a different idea about how to view Kyrie Irving because of how their exchanges go at times. I know Kyrie Irving has not been really taking to the media very well, and he speaks of the media a certain way. So I'm pretty sure they look at him as their opposite, so to speak, or what have you. But I know that situation with, I believe his name is Nick Trudell. I believe that's the man's name. He was the one that Kyrie kind of had the exchange with at the press conference after the game a few games ago. And so I just felt like maybe Wendy's energy might have been a remnants of that a little bit. Maybe that's his friend or something. I don't know. You know how this thing goes. But in my mind, I'm just looking at how they were conversing about Kyrie Irving's name, and I'm just saying, you know what? You open up the door, ESPN, for the conversation of whether or not you're being fair toward Kyrie Irving in regards to what it is that's being talked about. I think when listening to Steve Nash's comments on the conversation, I think he was the most open-minded about what it is that's going on here. Truth of the matter is, I don't think people have really caught up to the sensitivity of what it is that's going on, but there's not just one side's feelings who need to be considered in this situation in regards to the conversation about Jewish people. Black people's conversation is a conversation that needs to be considered in this situation, and I think that we are now awakening to that. Now it's not just silence the black man when he has something to say. No, black people are saying we have something to say and we have proof in these doctrines that there's some things to question that may have been hidden for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So when you start to have this conversation come to the forefront out of nowhere, it becomes a conundrum where you want to punish Kyrie for posting it, but then you realize these documentaries have been sold on Amazon for years. So how do you get mad at Kyrie for posting it but not hold Amazon accountable for selling it? And I think that's the conundrum, or rather the double standard that everybody's able to point out regardless of what they think about the situation. And see, these are the type of things that make you look over at Kyrie and then you look at Kanye and you see what he's saying, and it's like, okay, this is a situation where you're not going to be able to throw you can't be anti-Semitic at people right now, because the conversation, once it starts to get revealed, it's not anti-anything. It's not. And once you start to become educated about the conversation, then you realize if you're a corporate, you should probably back away. They haven't gotten to that point yet. They don't know that yet. And that's why I said this reminds me of Kaepernick when they were telling Kaepernick not to kneel, because they thought that was the just way to look at it. They didn't realize that you need to now start considering black people's point of view as it pertains to the opposite things that the majority is coming at us with, because we have legitimate concerns that need to be addressed at this time. For whatever reason, this time is coming now. It's coming right now. And y'all need to be sensitive to what it is that we're coming with, because it's going to oppose some views that are long understood to be true. And so if you're not ready for those truths to come to light, corporate, in terms of your corporate stances on these things, you're going to be hit with a backlash that's going to hit your pockets hard. That's what I'm telling you. It's going to hit your pockets hard. So I know it. I see it coming, and a lot of these corporations are taking the wrong stance. They're taking the wrong stance on this, and I just think ESPN may be on that side of the fence right now. They might not necessarily know what they should be doing, and I think they're still getting mad at Kyrie Irving for posting this documentary, when now what they're actually doing is pointing people toward the documentary. And now that they're watching it, they're realizing what's in the documentary is stuff that's been studied, that leaves room for questioning. And then they're starting to talk about DNA and stuff, and it's like, well, you have proof that this is this and that. So now it's not just as simple as you're anti-Semitic. Now it's like, well, okay, define anti-Semitic, and then be certain that what you're talking about is what to be fully understood in the conversation. I guess there's more to know about what it is that they're just blanketly defining. And at this point, they're being held to the fire for it, or rather held accountable for whatever, I don't know how to word it, but this is time for the conversation to be had to see what's going on. And I think black folks are not taking no for an answer. We're not necessarily being shamed away or backed away or told that, oh, we're bad people for doing this. No, we're not confused. We're not Hitler. We're none of that. This ain't anti-nothing. This is, are there secrets? And if so, tell us what you know. That's what this is. And if corporates, interests are going to get in the way, they're going to find out that they're going to find themselves in a weird space socially going forward. So that's what it is. That's what I see. And Brian Windhorst is, obviously on one side of that, right? I think there are a lot of people who identify with the Jewish faith. They have Jewish friends. And it's going to be a side-taking type of situation until people start to understand that there's love in the conversation. They don't know that yet. And there's going to be a lot of people who try to pervert the conversation to make it look like there's no love, because that's the nature of what it is we're dealing with. But it's spiritual, I believe, and because it's spiritual, it'll come back around somehow, I believe, or it'll turn into some massive war that tears everything up, just like history has shown us. But nevertheless, this is where we are. We're at the beginning of something spiritual in regards to the people, and because of the history of the people, businesses are going to have to navigate it very, very carefully, or they're going to have to find a way to try to suppress it, and I don't know that you can. Truth of the matter is, God is funny, the people who are trying to suppress this are actually shining a light on it. That's what's actually happening. Like I said, Josiah was the one who told me this thing actually exists by way of him posting, hey, Kyrie posted some anti-Semitic stuff. Did he? What the heck he do? I want to be mad about it too. Oh, it's not something I'm mad about. What is going on over here? Oh, so you're trying to, that's what happened there. So it's like, that's the effect that's taking place. Those who are trying to silence it are actually shining a light on it. And then from there, we're going to find out that there's stuff to know. There's a lot of stuff to know. And so as we start to learn, it's going to get real interesting. So, Brian Windhorst, man, I don't know what you feel about Kyrie Irving, but I don't think they should suspend him for this particular post. In fact, I think Josiah might want to just prepare his reverse apology that's probably going to have to come out at some point over the next several years. Because this is going to be a mess, and he, whether he knows it or not, shined the biggest light on it. He really did. Also, everybody else too. ESPN, all these guys that are condemning him, especially the ones that look like him. You're on the wrong side of this thing, buddy. You're going to find it out very soon. It says what it is, man. Yeah. It's not about going against your own people or siding with someone else. It's not that. It's just about knowing that there's more to know than what you've been told, and that there are things that have yet to be understood in regards to people. And we know this because you don't know who the black people are. Just slaves. You just snatched us from somewhere. What happened to us before? You didn't keep the information. So of course these type of things are going to come back around America. Of course eventually we're going to wake up and say, yo, we don't know who we are. Let's find out. And you turn on the internet, it's like, whoa, we can really go find out. So I think that's kind of what's happening. You turned on the internet about 15 years ago. People started asking questions and started getting answers. Started studying, started sharing that information. And then, stuff that's been hidden for thousands and thousands of years can certainly get unearthed. The DNA's everywhere. And most importantly, we're studying DNA. So all these different things, the bone structure and stuff like that, things you could hide for millions of years, you can't hide that stuff in 2022, man. We can tell you exactly who these people are because we know who their people were based on the information that we know about other stuff that we studied around different stuff. It's coming up, man. And you should know that that's a natural occurrence. So, that's what's going on. Can't be anti-Semitic if I'm an actual Jewish person. Now, whether I know it or not, how the story goes, if they're the real people, I don't know. They're, of course, who they are, right? But that doesn't mean we're not who we are. And if you're defining it as us being anti-them, then we can't be anti-us if we're them. And the way the story goes is more to learn, so I'm not alleging anything. I'm just telling you that right now, we don't know what we're about to know because the DNA is going to show us what it is that's been hidden, if there's anything that's been hidden at all. And from what I'm learning, there's a lot. So I think Kyrie Irving and Josiah and Kanye West and God and everybody else is trying to give us black people some understanding of who we actually were before we were stolen by white supremacy. So that is what this is about, man. If you don't have sensitivity for that, I don't know what to say, because we're hurting. And so that's what it is. That's what I said to Brian Windhorst, man. Like, you got to understand this. You got black folks that you love a lot, and some of them are going to be hurt by the energy that you're pointing at Kyrie based on the realities of what it is I've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. It's not that we don't see your point of view. It's just that there's more for you to learn. There's more for all of us to learn. And some of these people that we run around seeing a jump high, you look at John Morant, you look at LeBron James, you look at some of these amazing athletes. Could they not be something special from somewhere special? Because we don't know how the hell these people are this dope. You know, people like me ain't running around doing this. You know, people like you ain't running around doing this. Could there not be some secrets hidden just to explain why these slaves turned out to be some of the best, most incredible athletes and musicians and artists the world has ever seen? They were just slaves, right? I mean, we don't ask enough questions, man. We really don't. We don't ask enough questions. We accept certain norms. We understand that the forefathers were bad guys, but we accept the fact that we've just kind of evolved. We know more than they knew, so we accept them for who they were. But we need to ask questions about their intentions about a lot of stuff because they were some liars and torturers. And they didn't really govern themselves very well from person to person to person as it pertains to, you know, not being hypocrites. And so let's just be real, man. We've evolved in our energy and how we interact with one another. So it should not be outside of our the possibilities of such things being possible and then being hidden for millions and millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years, whatever. You know, I was obviously not somebody that would know, but I can say that such things appear possible in the world that we're in, where people could not know who they are. Living proof. And so why couldn't it be another people on this land who too don't know who they are, or rather have been told one thing and it ain't that? Is that so possible? When you consider the wickedness on this earth, is that so impossible when you think about a lot of what has happened? I mean, I don't need to fill in the blanks for you, but it's been a rough go. So that's what I gotta say. I think it would be naive just to think, no, you're absolutely wrong. Don't question this. And everybody who's ever had it right has it right. I was listening to one of the guys in the documentary, just a little excerpt that wasn't actually in the full documentary, but like on some YouTube promotion of the documentary. They were giving you excerpts of stuff, little snippets to get you to get there. And one of the things that they were showing me was these gentlemen, they were talking to a rabbi. And one of the things when they were really trying to get to the crux of what the rabbi knew, the thing he was holding on to the most, the bottom line it boiled down to what he was saying was, the reason why we know this is true is because the first guys kept documented written proof of this back in year 10, whatever, you know, obviously. Back then, and they kept that written and they kept passing that information down. They made sure that we got it all the way to us. We've known who we are all this time. And the two things came to mind. I thought about something I learned when I was like 3 or 4 years old, kindergarten, whatever, 5 years old. Sit all the kids down in a line, and you give them, you whisper in one kid's ear one word. Cause you ain't gonna give them a whole sentence and I'm like that, just one word. And you tell them that kid to whisper in another kid's ear, and you gotta tell that kid to whisper in the other kid's ear, and you get like 30 kids, and you get them all to say, whisper into the ear, and by the time the last kid says the word, it's a completely different word than what was initially told to the first kid. Now they all heard each other say what they thought each other said, but somewhere lost in the process of different translation. Now I ain't saying somebody actually changed the word, like deliberately said, you know what, I heard something, I'm gonna say something else. But as they continue to pass the word, it would change. In dialect, it's more people would try to enunciate, or more people try to listen to it, or more people would mistake what they heard or what have you, till it became something else. Kind of sounded like the word, but it wasn't the word. I said all this to say, could that not be possible in regards to passing something down for that damn long? That long? Could something like that have possibly happened? Sure it could. Could not the first guy just simply been a damn liar? And nobody questioned him because whatever his situation was foolproof? Wasn't like they had anybody questioning him for whatever set of reasons like he was in 2022. He didn't have a detective group assessing what it is that he was looking at, or whether or not he was the real deal or whatnot. He just said, I'm going to say that this is me, and I'm going to make sure that my kids and everybody who around me going to say this is what we were, and then we're going to pass that down for the rest of eternity. And everybody's going to know it's us, and that's what we were. Except for that, I'm a liar, and that ain't what happened. Could that not be possible? Just because it was so long ago, it's just not to be questioned. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think I can lay my head down, put all my money on the table, based on my understanding, my limited understanding of life and history and mankind and how men work and how women work and how people are. I can't take what I've learned in my walk of life and say that something like that could not have possibly happened, or dare not say was probable. Probably did happen. So that's where I'm at with that. That's exactly where I'm at with that. I don't know, man. I don't think people are bad guys. I don't know everybody's walking around saying, shh, don't tell anybody. I don't think that. I think a lot of people have learned to trust what they've been passed down for millions and millions of years, and maybe a few of them questioned it, but probably laid their head down in life and just didn't think too much of it. But like, here's the part that makes it so messed up. It's just like the DNA of it all, dude. You know, like, just to not be so surface about it, but like, where they're from, skin shouldn't necessarily be white or fair, right? Not necessarily. Not given the origin of the land. The people that were originally there, you would think would be darker and have wool's hair and all kinds of different stuff, really tight. You know what I mean? Just to fit the overall terrain. I don't know. I just don't know. They look more European to me. What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to lie about it? I don't know how to. You know, I really don't know how to lie about that. Like, if they were just like dark skinned and it looked like us, it matched. You see what I'm saying? If it matched to where they're from, and if it just was as surface as easy to say that, yo, African people look like they're from Africa, or whatever surface stuff people say about people who look like they're from a certain place. If it looked that simple and it matched, then we would have less to question, I guess. I mean, but even as a small child, you would wonder, like, so they're not Caucasian? No, they're Jewish. Like, look, I can't. I'm just ignorant. And it's like, okay, let all that go. Why the suppression of the conversation? It always comes back down to that. It's like, all right, fine. So when I bring this conversation up, I cannot have it. But you hold so much wisdom, so you know I'm not a bad guy. You know 10 times more than I do. You have control over contracts, this and that. You have this. You guys have better education. You don't have this, that, and the third. So you know that I'm coming from a place of ignorance, right? Because that's generally what it's supposed to be. But you still hold no sensitivity for the context of a question from an ignorant person that may not know. You gotta label him a bad guy. That's not how I treat the ignorant. I give him an answer. I'm like, yo, Brandon, why you got on a white shirt? I didn't feel like wearing a yellow one, and that was the first shirt I saw. So I grabbed a white one. I'm not gonna sit up and say, don't you question me about this white shirt I'm wearing. What I got to hide about the white shirt? Ain't no wrong, like, there's nothing wrong with not knowing why I wore the shirt, and there's nothing wrong about inquiring about the shirt. Not just saying as simple as a white shirt, obviously, but I do want to know something that you can give me information on. It probably shouldn't hurt either one of our feelings if we get it. That's why this situation looks even more suspicious. So, like, from my little place as a black dude, 38 years of age, I don't know. I don't have any kids, but if I had them, I'd want to know what to tell them. I want to not be ignorant no more, and I can't not be ignorant no more if I can't engage in conversations that I've been told to not have. I ain't allowed to have those conversations. To the point where if a guy who's famous even attempts to attach himself to something that has that like that, they're going to promote what he did to tell me he's a bad guy without even realizing that they're promoting what it is that he's putting up there himself. They're promoting it. Am I to think into that? Am I to think into that? See, these, where does it end? Where does speculation end? Like, do they want me to know? I don't know. I don't know. But one thing I do know is, if I'm to find out, conversations are going to have to be had. If I'm to find out, people are going to have to let go of the animosity of calling me an anti-Semite for wanting to know. I don't know. Now, if I was anti, I say I am, and I'm coming through with bad energy, and it's going to be war to pay, so get ready. That's hate. That's when you say, okay, he's anti. Or if I'm sitting up here saying, yo, they bad, do this to them, and then from there we'll be better. That's anti. You got to silence that dude. He ain't no good. But if I'm sitting there saying, yo, we got some information, and this information provides conversation worthwhile, and we're both dignified individuals, so we can sit down and have a conversation about it. That's what's going on here. And what's happening is, no, you're evil, you're anti, and that's that. Rah! That's what we're getting back in response to. No, we're here in love. We can sit down and break bread about it, but we want to know what's going on because we think some things have been hidden from us. And if that's anti-Semite, if that's the worst thing in the world, well, damn it, I don't think that's what we need to call it anymore, because that makes it so very blurred. And now you're going to be putting good guys in the same cells with bad guys, and that's not a good thing. You see what I'm saying? I don't think Kanye and Kyrie should be put in a cell with Hitler. No, but these guys are essentially saying they're both the same. No, and if you're applying it that way, you're doing it wrong. We can all agree on that, right? They're doing it wrong. Let's try to reassess what we're actually looking at. Remove your feelings, remove your whatever else is going on, and let's apply some actual balanced, diplomatic energy, right? So that people don't have to get ignited in hatred, so that people don't have to come to the court side wearing anti-Semitic, hate must be fought t-shirts as if they are understanding something that is not actually there for them to receive. No different than the Kaepernick situation when you told all them people he was trying to disrespect the flag. No, he was trying to bring them awareness to something that needed awareness brought to it at that time with humble energy. That's what kneeling was. You took it as evil, or couldn't tell the difference. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Can you not tell the difference? Video 44. Thank you all for watching. No.